Hello students, welcome to the week 2 lectures. In the first part of the lecture, we will be talking about the widgets and the UI components, and in the second part, we will be talk about the layouts. In the practical part, you see that we have constraint layouts, and in the linear layout, I show you different components add and images. I show you my beautiful picture over there. Okay, so first of all, we have different type of UI components, different widgets. We call them UI elements, we call them widgets. We have text view, we have edit text, we have buttons, we have checkboxes, we have radio buttons, we have spinner, we also have a toast, we have a seek bar, we have image button, scroll view. You can, there are countless different type of UI elements and the widget which are present in the Android APIs, and we can use them. We also have the uh, um, material widgets which are coming from the material library from the Google. There are also other people who have developed different type of GUI components that we can import into our project and we can use them. So they are countless. Of course, we cannot cover each and every one of them in the lecture, but definitely we will try to cover the most used widgets. The first thing that is very important here, every widget that you see in your Android project is actually a child of the view class. So view is actually an Android.view, that is an Android library, and every widget that we have that will eventually maybe it is direct subclass of the view, or maybe the subclass of the subclass of a view, but eventually it will be a child of the view class. If you click on that one, then you will find out that it will take you to the API references for the view class. Of course, when we say that it is a text view, it is used to show some text to the user. User can interact with it, like it can user can click on that, and in response of that particular click event, the application can perform some specific thing. We can change the text, we can change its size, we change its background, we change its font, or so on. We can do a lot of things when the text view is being clicked. So this is an example here. So this is an Android programming that is shown here, and this is the text view. This is a text view, start opening tag and closing tag. So it is a tag with the closing tag within itself, open close tag. So we have a layout width, we have layout height, then we say that what will be the background color. Here we are saying that it should be white, and then we also have the text property, that what text we want to show in that particular specific text view. We say that text all caps. If we look at that, it is A is capital, P is capital, and the other remaining elements or characters are small caps. They are not capital, they are small. But here, when it is being shown to the user, it is all caps. So we can set that particular specific property and it will turn into automatically into the capital letters. What will be the text size, what will be the color of the text. So we have different properties that we can set that for that particular specific text view. Again, we have a button which is a clickable button. We can click on that particular specific button, and in response of that particular click event, it will our application will perform some specific task. Again, if you look at the tree hierarchy, button is the subclass of a text view, and text view is a subclass of a view. So eventually button is also a child of the view class. So this is an example of the button. Here we are saying that what is the width of that particular button, what is the height of the button, what will be the text that we want to show on that particular button. The text on the button is by default capitalized. All by whatever you give here, it will automatically capitalized by itself. And then we can say that what will be the text color on that particular specific button. Okay, so these are certain properties that we have. So every widget is a child of the view clause that we have discussed. And then we have different type of material chip buttons. We have the checkboxes, we have the radio buttons, we have the switches, we also have on and off buttons, we also have the spinner view, which is a drop down list menu. We also have the image button, which shows some specific image instead of the text on the button. We also have the seek bar, where you can move that particular specific element and it will change its property. So these are some examples of the GUI widgets or the elements which are present in the Android applications. Now the thing that we want to understand is the widget box. That widget, it is a rectangular box. Okay, so everything that comes, that is shown on the screen, it is a rectangular box, whether it is shown in the circular form or the oval form or the rectangular form, square form, it is actually a square. And this particular specific red line is the boundary of that particular widget, which separate that particular widget from the other elements in that particular specific screen. This is a boundary. Again, the within the boundary we also have a box which contains the contents. Maybe, for example, it is an image button, that will be an image, the content will be an image. If it is an image view, where we will see that in the practical example that I see you a picture, so that picture or the image is also a content inside it. So by default, the boundary and the content box, they are at the same position. There is no difference, there is no space between the boundary and the content box by default. Then we have a padding. Padding is something like that. I mean, we have a boundary which is shown in the red, and then this red black dotted line that show the boundary of the content box. And padding mean we want to leave some white spaces between the boundary of the widget inside the widget box, between the boundary and the content box. So we want to leave some spaces, maybe on top, maybe on left side, maybe on right side, maybe on the bottom. So similarly, we also have the margin properties. We can set some specific margins. Margins is the padding is inside this white space inside the widget box. On the other hand, the margin is the white space out of the widget box, between the other widget box. Okay, so we have, main thing is every widget that we see on a screen, every UI component or element that we see on a screen is a rectangular box, and or we call it a widget box or rectangular box, whatever you want to say. It has two things, one is the boundary and one is the content box inside that particular specific widget box. Padding is the white space between the boundary and the content box, but inside the widget box. On the other hand, the margin is these white spaces that we leave between two different widgets out of the widget box. Okay, so these are a few what you can say that some specific terminology that we have: boundary, content box, padding, and the margin. So let me show you the padding. Padding has multiple things. We have top side. For example, here this is an example. With the example it will be much more clear. We have a wrapped width, height, we have some shown some text, and right now we did not put any padding inside. So what will happen, that particular boundary wall as and the content box, they are at the same position. So sometimes it's very tight and you can't see, they're just sticking to the walls. So if I just try to add, now I say add padding, what does that mean? It will leave 30 points padding on the top, 30 points padding on the left, 30 points padding on the right, and 30 points padding on the 30 pixel padding on the bottom. So when you only say padding, it will leave from all sides, whether it is a top, left, right, and bottom, the same white amount on all four different sides. But on the other hand, if we say padding top, then it will not leave any space on the right or left or the bottom, but it will only leave 30 point pixel white space top side of the uh, on the top side of that particular specific widget box. Normally these red lines are not there. I just show you in this particular specific slide so that you can see that where the boundary exactly is, and then we have a white space between the boundary of that widget box and the, so we are left some space on the top side. We can also have say that padding left. When you say padding left, it means that we want to leave some white space on the left side of the content box, not on the top, not on the bottom, not on the right. Similarly, we can make it to padding to the right. We can also say that padding to the bottom. Okay, so it will accordingly leave that particular specific space. So if you are saying only padding, it will leave the same amount of white space on the top side, on the left side, right side, and the bottom side. And we can also specify that we want the white space only on the top, only on the left, only on the right, or only on the bottom. Or we can also say something like we have two properties. So leave some space on the left and leave some space on the right, not on the top, not on the bottom. So we need to set two different properties: padding bottom and padding left and padding right. So that is also possible. So we understand the concept of the padding. Okay, so now we talk about the margin again, margin from the top, margin from the left, margin from the right, or margin from the bottom. We can only set the margin property. It means that we want to leave the white space on all four different sides, top, left, right, and bottom. Or we can specify some specific side where you want to leave some white spaces. For example, here I say that margin 10. It means it will leave some white space on the left side. It will also leave some white space on the top side. It will also try to leave some space on the right side and the as well as the bottom. But if I say something like this, only leave some white space on the top of the side, again look at that padding. It means that we want to leave some space inside the widget on all four directions. So top, left, right, and bottom, because we set the padding. And here we say margin top, it will only leave the white space on the between the widgets on the top side. Again, margin to the left, we can also put some margin on the right and the bottom as well. So the other thing which is important for a widget, for any widget, whether it's a text view, whether it is an image, whether it is a button, the two properties width and height. It is a text view, width and height. We have a text view, again width and height. So these two properties are compulsory. If you don't give width and height, that particular space, when you try to compile your project, it will give you the error message. You have to provide those width and height properties. If you don't give them, it is not going to accept it. So for the width and height, we have multiple options, multiple values that we can set over there. First thing is match parent. So we are saying that match the width of that particular specific text view. Here we are saying that wrap content in the first text view 1, and again this is a text view 01, but it is here the property is equal to wrap content. It means whatever the length of that particular specific text is, accordingly its width will change. If that particular, only if we only give text here in that particular specific text property without the view 01, then the what you can say that then the width of that particular specific text will be something like this. So very close. So text is smaller, the uh, what you can say that uh, the width of that particular specific text view will also be smaller because we have a smaller text, so width will be smaller according to the length of the text. But here we are saying that it should match with the parent. And what is the parent? Parent is actually this whole white screen that you can see within that particular specific box. We have a title bar, and then after that this particular specific screen is the parent. So we are saying that go make your width according to the parent. If the parent is small, your width will be small. If the it means that it will cover the whole length of that particular specific screen. So match parent. Again, we are saying that match parent for the height as well. Here we are saying that and the height is wrap content. So whatever the height of that particular text is, accordingly it will assume the height based on that particular content or the text in that particular text view. But if we change that property to the match parent, it will try to cover all the remaining white space or the remaining space within that particular specific screen. So this is a between the wrap content and the match parent. So next, in the second half, we will be talking about the view group layouts and the linear layouts. So stay tuned. I will come back with the next video for the week 2. Bye.